Hi, my name is Antonio Mays, and I'm a student from the Principles of Speech and Communications class. And I was born and raised in Rialto, California, and I come from a Black and African American cultural background. And my career that I am focusing on right now is becoming a professional football player. And I want to be able to help all my loved ones and be able to just live the life that I've always wanted to live, And where I see myself in 10 years is I see myself retired with a family, probably like two, three, four kids, and then just possibly teaching younger kids the game of football like I got taught myself. So something I say I'm good at when it comes to communicating is how I listen and hear others and not just to listen to give a response. And then that also came from my background, I would say more of my culture because just having a black single mom is just something that she always instilled into me to always listen before you speak and use your ears before your mouth. So it's just something that I always just grew up doing. And one area that I am trying to work on more is when I'm out in spaces that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. I want to be I'm kind of antisocial, so I want to be able to get out of my bubble more. So to start off though, my culture is I'm a black African American, as you can see, and I feel like my culture. Well, first let me start off to say we are gonna try to find out whether my culture or is more collective or individualist. So me, honestly, I think it's more on the collectivist side because when it comes to family and a community, like we're all always a whole. When it comes to black people as a whole, I've seen it in movies, even in real life. You see it on the news every day. Communities just coming together as a whole to hold each other up. And from my own experience, even online, like I see people in TikTok comments when there's a whole bunch of black people trying to support another black business, they end up blowing the business up. It's just stuff like that. Just that's always been something that it's just been instilled in our culture to naturally lift each other up. And coming up as a kid, I've just always been taught to connect with people, and like I've always had a good way of understanding where people are coming from, and I've always been taught to communicate and to build a relationship more than just to just get a quick conversation or shut somebody down or tell them they're wrong for what they're saying. No, I like to connect with people and like hear people ideas and give my own ideas and shoot back and forth and things like that. Even when I get to the pros, when I'm playing football, like I'm gonna have to be able to communicate good, whether it's on the field, off the field, with coaches, with teammates, with fans, everything. All that ties into just naturally being able to have a conversation with somebody, whether it's nonverbal or verbal. And now one thing I wanted to get into was the more nonverbal cues that my culture deals with. So like a lot of things like when let's talk about like when people are mad or angry or don't agree with something. Like I've seen a lot in my culture that we tend to use our body language and our facial expressions to more when we're talking about things and when we put emotion into it. I've seen that more as I've started to grow up, and like I've seen people even in my culture like with quick little head nods or handshakes that mean something. It's a lot of things that up to these nonverbal cues, but that once you build a relationship, what I feel like a lot of African American people in the culture build these relationships, they find the understanding of things that they don't even have to use their words for. So that's just something that I've always grew up seeing doing. Is just instilled in me literally. But when I'm around people from other cultures, what I will say is I try to lean back on it because you never know what's respectful or disrespectful when it comes to these different cultures. When you make eye contact too long, they may be respectful in one culture and disrespectful in a different one. So that's just some things that you have to think about when you're out in the world talking to different people left and right. But it's something that I can say that I'm working on and been getting good at. So hopefully by the time I get to where I'm going, I'll have that down pat. And also another thing though that I would like to touch on is with past the nonverbal cues and the verbal cues, a lot of things gets told out through the media these days. So, but also cultures could be bashed in the media, and I feel like that my culture necessarily has been bashed in the media a lot, and it's not just something as an opinion. It's been proven facts throughout years and decades of even the media first coming on with the first news. It's always been something bashing necessarily, I wouldn't just say it so bluntly, but black people, and I've seen it. Everybody has seen it. So I feel like that's a major problem in today's society that we're facing. Like that's something that my culture faces a lot, and even there's multiple different cultures who face the same thing. It just may be in a different part of the world that we may not see as much, or it's something that's not talked about as much. But I can say that it affects everybody in the same way, no matter what the culture is. And I feel like the media has a big impact on it. But in my culture, one thing that we have been taught is to pay attention, but not try to give too much emotion into it because it's been put up to bring us down. So, what I've been taught, and what I've always been telling people that of my culture is to not put too much emotion into it and try to take it as a reason why more than a reason to not do. So that's something that I just wanted to touch bases on. But all in all, I talked about my culture, how we do non-verbal communication, how we do verbal communication, and also I even gave a little example on how we're affected by the media. So these are I've showed the things that I've grown up learning, doing, and it's just naturally been instilled in me through the rest of my life. It's gonna be something I do through the rest of my life, and I just hope that while I'm staying on my everyday task and I'm being able to both communicate verbally and non-verbally when I get to where I'm going to either A, B, coaches, players, fans, anything like that, is just something that I have to keep working on and keep perfecting because it's something that I'm gonna have to use on my day-to-day basis. So I plan on building it. I've been building it up since I've been a kid. Like I said, as growing up in a black family, it's something that's been instilled in us since the day we were born. So I continue to work on it, and yeah, thank you.